Okay, chef, so here we have a blue swimmer crab. Crabs obviously come in varying sizes. Now for our Singapore chili crab, this recipe calls for the bones to be left pretty much intact. But we do need to prepare the crab so that you can access the meat within the shells. Some people use a nutcracker. You may not have a nutcracker, so I'm going to show you how to make this edible basically at home. Now, the anatomy of the mud crab, you've got the claws, you've got the shell. This part here, these two spikes, is basically the vertical spine. And you have eyes, mouth in here, obviously the crab feeds, and they have some protective teeth across the top here. So you just have to be wary of that, if the crab's alive, it'll move around and obviously can catch you. But this crab is already dead. I'm going to show you how you would normally kill the crab. So on the underside, whether it's male or female, if it's a male, you've got a nice narrow part of the anatomy here. If it's female, you'll see it's more rounded. What you want to do is, if you've got a live crab and you need to kill it humanely, you're just going to go through this part here carefully so you don't cut yourself. One fell swoop with a knife. And that will instantly kill the crab. Now for the instance of this recipe, we need to prepare this as per, to make it palatable and accessible at home really. So there's some parts that are edible, some parts that aren't. These at the back here, these are the swimming legs. You can't really do much of them, not much meat, so we're going to use a knife just to remove them. We've got the claws at the front and the normal legs at the back. Okay, so the claws are the part where they have most of the nice sweet meat. We're going to remove them just by twisting them first of all. Put them to one side. You can do the same with the small legs. Now this part here, obviously, inside the shell is lots of good meat, so we can just open this carefully, peel the shell off the back. Now in here there's certain aspects which you can and can't eat. We can remove this because it's not very palatable. This brown meat is nice to eat, we can keep that. We'll actually keep this shell whole, but what we want to do is just remove these sharp pieces on the edges with your knife, because that vertebral spine could actually just cause a bit of injury to you. So inside the crab here, we've got these things here. These basically are filters for the crab, and inside here is all sand and stuff that you can't really eat. We call them dead man's fingers. We need to remove them. I'm also going to show you a different way that you can prepare the crab as per chili crab. So these can go away, we don't need them. Remove this frontal part here, which is the mouth. You can't really eat that, so you just got to remove that. And then this can be cut into sections. You could cut it in 4 if you like, making sure that any dead man's fingers are removed. Of course, this is Singapore chili crab. If you were to cook this in fish cakes or pasta, you'd have to blanch this crab and then pick out the meat. But this is going to get cooked in oil, and then they're going to be served whole so that you can pick it out with tweezers or a small fork. So these are our sections that we're going to use, just checking for dead man's fingers and small parts that are not nice to eat. We've got a nice brown meat, white meat, all there. And with these legs, you need to access the meat. So where the joints are, we just need to remove this part here. So any meat in there, you can access it. So don't use your best knife for this. So we've got the 4 parts of the body, which you're going to pick the meat out. The small legs, now we're going to use the claw. So I'm going to tidy these up. We're going to cut either side of the elbow so you can access the meat on both sides of the elbow, like this. Okay? This part you can discard. Of course, if you're making a crab stock, you could use that, no problem. So here you've got part of the string of crabs. You've got the head with the brown meat, so don't throw that away. White part with the white and brown meat. The white meat inside the claws, where we've removed the elbow so you can access it. And the small legs. Not a lot of meat in here, but it can be quite fun picking that out with the cocktail stick. So that's how you need to prepare your crab as per chili crab. Now, obviously, every crab, you've got to remember that depending on the outcome, this is for Singapore chili crab. Like I said, if you're doing a pasta or you're doing fish cakes or crab risotto, the preparation of the crab will be different. They can be blanched in water, refreshed in ice water, and then all the meat picked off the body. The reason that blue swimmer crab lends itself well to Singapore crab is purely because of its size. It's small enough that you can fry a whole crab, or maybe two crabs in one wok, and the meat is a good size in terms of you can just pick away at it with a nice sauce. Okay, chefs, next dish, Singapore chili crab. Now this dish can be particularly dangerous if you don't take care with what you're doing. So in the TAFE environment, if you're in normal class, we'd be using a wok. Now, I'm well aware that most of you won't have a wok at home, so you can do this in a frying pan if you like, but just really take care with the hot oil in this recipe, remembering that any water or any flames near the hot oil can ignite it, and that can be very dangerous. So I'd rather you just take your time with it and produce a good product than panic and rush. If in doubt, turn it off and try again, okay? Now, I've got my wok here on a medium heat, and what we need to do first of all is blanch the crab in oil. So typically in Singapore they'd have a oil that they'd reuse over and over, and that would be used for frying the shellfish or the crustaceans, and that would be a flavoured oil. And like a master stock, you do use it over and over again. Now, here we obviously have a product that, such as crab, that contains a lot of moisture. If you look inside these shells here, there is lots of juices from the crab in there, so we need to make sure that doesn't hit the oil first of all. We're going to start tempering the oil by frying off the larger segments and claws first, and that will help prevent any flaming. It can still flame, we just need to be very careful. In this instance, what I'm going to do to avoid that is put the shells with the juices in when the sauce is made, okay? So here I have two crabs prepared, ready to go. I have some soy sauce, sugar, garlic, ginger, spring onions, and some larger spring onions and cherry tomatoes. You won't have cherry tomatoes, but I had them left over from a previous recipe. I'm going to use them up. I have some chicken stock, some corn flour, and again, you may not need all that corn flour, and some coriander to garnish, okay? So, first thing we're going to do is blanch the crab. We're going to go in with a large amount of oil, bring that to temperature, okay? Likewise, if you have a frying pan rather than a wok, use less oil, but cook the crab for longer, okay? The reason I'm showing you this is just a method to cook the crustacean that they use in Asia, and they use that oil over and over, okay? So get this to close to smoking point and turn it down. At this point, you'll need some tongs, just to make sure that you're able to turn it in the oil. If you have a spatula or something, you run the risk of burning, okay? On my right hand side, I have a clay pot with a colander that I'm going to transfer the oil to once I cook the crab. So the first step is put a little bit of seasoning on the crab, not too much because you're going to add soy sauce later on. I'm going to fry the crab. Just check one, making sure it gets to temperature. It's not quite hot enough, so I'm going to pull it out again and get this crab nice and hot. Again, we just need to check this because what I don't want to do is ignite the oil. I've got my pan ready to go here. And we'll just check again. Not quite, nearly there. So there's a bit of smoke here, so make sure you have your extraction on at home if you're working with oil. But just stay with your pan at the moment, because I don't want you to move away from it, because there's always that risk that it can catch fire. We don't want that. So nice hot oil. We'll try again with the crab. Now you're starting to see some sizzling happening. So I'm going to leave that one in there, and that'll give me a good indication as to where I want the oil temperature. You'll see the crab also change colour when you fry it. Remember, we don't want these in yet because it will ignite the oil. So now it's starting to sizzle. This is the point now you want to go in, making sure they're nice and dry, carefully, into our oil. Careful with all the smoke. Now let that cook through in the oil. So this will get hot very quickly, and you want it to fry. So you can see the crab just starting to change colour. This is going to fry up shortly, and you're going to get nice even cooking through the crab. Then we've got our smaller legs here that can wait. Typically in the wok burner in a restaurant, this wok would be a bit more powerful and you get more frying action going. This is as strong as we think we can get our wok. So at home, if you've got an induction, you do need to really be careful with the wok. If it does work on an induction, it can get very, very hot. I'm going to go in with my smaller legs, fry them up. So as soon as these legs start to show colour, usually this wok would be a lot hotter. This is about as hot as it's going to get in here. Now at this point, the crab, the large piece, has been 90% of the way cooked through. I'm going to take this off the heat, carefully drop that over into the pan that I had earlier. Okay. Keep this on the heat. We're now going to move to our second stage, which is making the sauce. Okay, so I've got a little bit of residual oil left in here. Now what I need to do is have to handle all my ingredients. We're going to stir fry the chili and garlic, the garlic and ginger. Have our soy sauce ready just to deglaze, okay? We've also got some sugar here to sweeten the mix. All these can go in afterwards, okay? So first things first, we want to get the ginger and garlic in there. Stir fry that up. Just help that out. As soon as it starts to colour, and before it burns at least, you want to get in your liquids, okay? So cooking down our ginger and garlic in the wok. Again, my wok normally is a lot quicker process with a hotter wok. Now with the soy sauce, sugar, around the outside. We're going to bring this to a simmer now. Add in your stock. Next step is we're going to have our stock ready once this comes to a simmer. And you will need some corn flour. You can use arrowroot or tapioca flour if you like. Ready to go with a little bit of water to thicken our sauce. Now with this sauce, we're going to go into the stock. We want it to coat the crab, but we don't want it to be a gluey, horrible mixture. Okay? So we're going to bring this stock to the boil. Add in our remaining ingredients and thicken it with the corn flour slurry. This is then going to be served with a garnish of coriander. It would be nice to have some fried shallots on top also. I'll come back to you once this has come to the boil. Okay, our stock is just about coming to the boil now. At this point, I want to finish the cooking of the crab in there with the remaining ingredients. The crab can go in, and you bring this to the boil again. Now, your other ingredients can also go in, because as soon as this comes to the boil, you're going to thicken it. Because this crab is 99% of the way cooked there. There's some cherry tomatoes, they can go in. There's some red chilli, usually with a little bit of some garnish. I've got that there ready for my garnish. At this point, you can also go in with our crab shells, with the juices. I'm going to bring this to the boil. Now, as that comes to the boil, here I've got my arrowroot or corn flour, either or. I'll make a slurry. So it doesn't matter how much water you use really, you just want to make a slurry that you can pour into your sauce. So warm my bowl. Now this comes to the boil. So once this comes to the boil, we're going to go in with this arrowroot garnish with our remaining ingredients, which is I've got some fried shallots here. You may not have that at home. Some chili, spring onions, coriander. Okay, so my stock is coming to the boil now. I'm going to add this in a small amount at a time. I'm just going to thicken this up. As that hydrates, that will coat the crab, but we don't want too much. So just go bit by bit until you get the right consistency. The crab shells are nicely cooked, which is good. And this sauce is just about the right consistency there. So remember, you want a sauce, you don't want a gluey, horrible texture to your liquid. Okay? And also, don't cook it for so long that it overcooks all your nice vegetables. So that there is just about where I want it. See how it's coating the crab? But it's not becoming gluey. Cook that another minute, and then we'll plate. So those crab shells are nicely cooked. All this is good to go. Be generous with the crab because although it looks like a big portion, there isn't a load of meat in there. So keep one shell for on top for garnish. and generous with the sauce. So, shell back on to garnish like that. Go with some coriander across the top, roughly chopped. Spring onions. Fried shallots. Chilli. What you serve that with is a nutcracker or some tweezers, and you sit in front of the TV for half an hour munching away.